Tell you what, Rooibos tea. If you've never had it, completely 100% recommend it. But we are not here to talk about Rooibos tea, are we? No, we're here to talk about the Tamron 28-200 and why I am making a follow-up video on this lens. Now, as it stands, one of the first videos I put up on my channel was a 3-month review of this lens, and even today I'm still getting questions about, is it still worth it, would you still recommend it, etc, etc. So I thought, why not just do a video now and answer all those questions in one go and hopefully help you make a decision on this little bad boy right here. So sit back, relax, maybe go and get a Rooibos or something, and let's get into this video. Okay, so today we will be discussing whether or not I still recommend it, what I don't like about it after a year's worth of use, is it a photo lens, is it a video lens, who is it for, and going forward, like what are my thoughts here. So I have really got, just a couple of little notes because I do know the ins and outs of this lens completely. Well, maybe not the ins because I've never actually pulled it apart, but I definitely know the outs. And to discuss it really briefly, if you've never actually looked or if this is your first time watching any video on this lens, it is just all plastic. It's got a little locking mechanism right there, and it zooms all the way out to 200, as you guessed. That's me holding it, so you can see it's definitely not that big of a lens, but it does pack a massive punch. Okay, so would I still recommend this lens? The answer is still a resounding 100 million % yes. I absolutely love this lens. If I am to be going on a short trip or a day hike, this is the one that trumps all the lenses in the back there because of the fact that it is so small and it is so versatile. Now, compared to the 7200, which we will discuss in a second, is something that I could maybe possibly compare it to. This is something that if you are going on a longer trip, you can pack this lens in with the camera body attached, as well as 2 lenses, a drone, 2 batteries for the drone, the controller, microphone, batteries for the camera, and the microphone holder, all of that into one bag, and Bob's your uncle. You are set for quite literally any situation. And that is the reason why I picked this lens over the 7200, for example, because of the fact that it is just so much more versatile and the fact that it does not take up any room that is more than standard in your camera bag. So if you're someone who is looking to choose between this or hypothetically the 24-105G lens, I would recommend this because of the fact that you do get an extra 100mm reach. Yes, it is at a higher f-stop, but that really doesn't matter when you are able to get an extra 100mm. Like, it really does show its value when you are in a situation where you think, I really need that extra reach to zoom in on a certain part of wherever you are. And by that point anyway, you're not really shooting at low f-stops, you're shooting around the f10, f11 mark. So having a lower f-stop at the 200mm range doesn't really count for much in my own opinion. Like, don't bash me for that, but it is not a necessary item at that focal length. For some situations, obviously there's other situations where you might need it, but for most situations you don't really need f2.8 all the way down the end. Now, what I don't like about this lens, and it is slightly contradicting what I just said, but I will explain, I promise, is that it is f5.6 at the 200mm end. Now, the only time I don't like this is when you are in a lower light environment and you are at 200mm and you can't bring the f-stop down any further than f5.6, so you have to bump the ISO up, causing a little bit more grain in the image. Now, since I've had the A7 IV, that hasn't been an issue, but I do recognize that the A7 IV is a new camera and it is a little bit more expensive than, say, the A7 III or the A7C. So you just have to keep that in mind, what type of camera you've got, and will the sensor be able to handle higher noise. Now, if it does, great. You don't have to really worry too much, but if it doesn't, then just keep that in mind. So you aren't going to get the creamy bokeh, like out of focus effect with 200mm, but what you will get is an extremely sharp image across the entire focal range. And that is what we'll be getting into when we discuss the photo side of this lens. Now, is this a photography lens? The answer is a 100% yes. Like, I am a photographer from the beginning, like that's where I stand. Like, videography for me came later, hence why I've got the lower subscriber count. So if you are interested in helping a brother out, get me up past that 1,000 subscriber mark, I would really appreciate it, because I'm that close. But this is a lens that is primarily for photographers. It is sharp, as I mentioned, all the way through the zoom range, and it is going to get you some super crispy, clear, beautiful images that even now, after 1+ year of owning this lens, I'm still very surprised at the capabilities of such a small, compact, lightweight budget lens. It does have some drawbacks, as I mentioned, having to use higher ISOs when you are in low light situations, but the fact that you're able to even shoot astro on this lens and then the next day go and take a 200mm shot of a bird, which you're not really meant to get close to because they're very dangerous, is quite astounding. And that is worth more to me than the fact that you have to bump up the ISO to be able to shoot different situations. So you just have to think about what you really want to buy this for. Now, is this a video lens? That is where the lines start to get a little bit blurred, because the answer is no, flatly not. Like, it's a photography lens, but it can do video, and it does do it pretty decently. You aren't going to get the blurry, creamy, bokeh, out of focus look that I mentioned earlier, but you will be able to get some really sharp, beautiful looking video across the entire focal range. Now, when I went down to Tasmania, I made a video up here somewhere, wherever it is on the screen. I shot the entire thing on this lens, purely because it was way more convenient than having to lug around all extra lenses and swap them out and stuff. So it is able to do it, and you are able to get some really nice handheld 200mm footage if you are using something like the A7 IV. Now, this is really useful. As I said, it's not going to be the blurry, creamy out of focus, but you are going to get a very nice image from it. So just keep that in mind. It's not what you would call a cinematic lens, but it is a really great lens. So I hope that sort of settles that kind of argument. If you do have any questions in particular regarding its video performance or any of its performance as I'm going along, then do feel free to drop a comment down below and we can discuss it there, because I will get back to you. Now, who is this lens for? That's the hard one, I guess, is the answer to that. It just goes back to what I mentioned earlier. Like, you have to really look at what you want from a lens. If you want something that is a sharp f2.8 performer like the 7200 that you can do really creamy, smooth video with at 200mm, this is not going to be it. If you want something that is really ultra lightweight, something you can take hiking or on your little holidays, or something that you just want to shoot family with, like you want to get one camera, one lens and just call it even and quits and that's the end of it, this lens is going to do it for you. If you want something that is really lightweight, it's ultra portable, it's something you can shoot everything on, and you don't really care too much about it being super out of focus and cinematic, this is the lens for you. If you want something that fits in your camera bag with all the other lenses attached so you can make the cinematic experience that you're looking for, this is the lens for you. Like, I could go on and on and on and on, but I'm not going to. Like, it's more like this, for me, is my favorite lens. I shoot really great video out of it. I shoot really great pictures out of it. And it's something that I'm gonna have for a very long time. Would I replace it with anything else? No, I wouldn't. Like, going forward, I guess, and getting into the going forward, so cut screen. Going forward, this is something that I'm probably not ever going to replace. It does everything I need for me. Like, I have thought about getting a 7200 f2.8 or something of that caliber, but then I think about it and I go, is it worth the extra hassle? Is it worth the extra bag space? And I think, no, it's not. I don't want to faff about with having this massive bazooka of a lens that I have to pull out and everyone's looking at me with this huge monstrous thing, hanging off my arm. But I don't want to do that. So I guess it just depends on, what you want. And if you are upgrading from the kit lens, or you're thinking about anything in particular when it comes to what lens do I get for this camera, or what lens do I upgrade from, and you don't really know and you're sort of getting into photography and all that stuff, I would thoroughly recommend you at least have a look and give this little bad boy a go. Will I sell it? Probably not. Probably not. I really love it. I really love it. These videos, that I've been able to make with this lens always come out so beautifully, crystal clear, smooth, and the fact that I can do it all on one lens and not have to worry about swapping lenses out, just be able to get the shot. Like the shots sometimes, especially for me, being a run and gun filmmaker and photographer, the shot is there when it's there and then it's gone. So you don't want to be like, oh, quick, put another lens on, because by that point you've missed it. So this is where having this on the body, boom, you've got the shot and you don't have to think about anything else. You can walk away a happy man or woman, depending who's watching this video. So I really hope that I've been able to clear up all the questions that I consistently get about my favorite little tool in the toolkit, because it's been overdue. This video has been overdue for a long time. So as I said, I really hope that it's been able to answer some of the questions that you might have in regards to purchasing that lens right there. All right, we've come to the end. I really hope you enjoyed this, and even more that you got something out of it. If you did, please do let me know down below with a comment or a like, as it does help this channel out massively. And if you are interested in helping me out personally and getting me up and over that 1,000 subscriber line, that would be really appreciated. So take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, bye.